Hey, what's going on YouTube? Find Some Green here, and today I want to go over a couple of hitting tips that may help you improve the dish. So, I like to go into custom practice, but before I go into custom practice, I like to set up my sliders and my custom roster. So for me, these are what my sliders look like. I up the fastball pitch speed, I up the off-speed pitch speed by 2 clicks from the start, and we practice on legend difficulty. Okay, in terms of my roster, I tend to load in guys that you're either going to see regularly or guys that have a pitch mix that is something that you'll face regularly. So for instance, if you go to my roster control here and we go to the Baltimore Orioles, you will see that they have Randy Johnson, they have Jacob deGrom, they have Kerry Wood from when he was the Extreme Showdown, they have Goose Gossage, they have Lee Smith, they already had Corbin Burns. But I add these guys in and then I'll juice up some of their numbers in order to try to make them harder to hit, or at least what they let you juice them to make them harder to hit. And you can basically grab whoever you want for the most part. You just have to move them over and move somebody out, and then fix your roster and rotation and your double and triple A teams. And it's not overly difficult. It's just a little time consuming. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll go to custom practice. And you guys will have to forgive me. I am not the greatest hitter. But I found since I started doing this, I have become a better hitter. I'm not crazy good at hitting. I won't even pretend to be. But I hit enough where I don't lose that often. So you're going to go into your practice here. And when you get in there, all right, we're going to go to practice type and we're going to go to batting. And we'll do Sandy versus Torres. And I'm going to up the pitch frequencies of the sinker, the circle change, and the slider, because those are 3 pitches that we see pretty often, and I want everything to be in the strike zone. Okay, I use the lock here. I always lock high, I aim a little low, and then I'm going to try to read the ball coming out of his hand. I go from his hat to his hand the best that I can. Now again, like I said, I'm not the greatest. All I'm trying to do is get a timing. Try to move my PCI somewhere close to the ball. Now occasionally, I will get burned. It does happen. For some reason, I have issues reading that pitch and I will drop my PCI. I don't know why that is. You know, it's a work in progress. Now for that one, I think I was relatively close and I was good timing. I just need to get my PCI over a little bit further. But again, it's practice, and we're trying our best to do something with practice, right? It's all about learning. And I come in and I try to do about 10 minutes a day on the days that I can. I don't play the game as often as I would like. You know, real life gets, I won't say in the way, but life is life, and you know, this is the secondary thing that you do to relax, or at least try to relax. In terms of my PCI settings, I like to use the bat. And the reason why I like to use the bat is because it never shrinks. It doesn't matter what level you're on or what difficulty you're on, whether it be rookie or all-star or Hall of Fame or legend or veteran or wherever you're at, it doesn't. The size of the bat does not change, which is nice because, as you guys know, anybody who's played for a while, and those of you who are new who may not know, as you up your difficulty, the size of the PCI when using the diamonds or the dots or the fishbowl or what starfighter or whatever is altitude, whatever it is you're using, it'll get smaller as you go. The bat always stays the same. Now, the feedback, it'll show that it's smaller, but the bat stays the same. So I like to use the bat. I like to do color of yellow. I don't have an outer PCI. I don't have an inner PCI. And I have the opacity at like 40. I used to run with it at like 60 or 70, but I found it visually, it was annoying to the point where it would distract me from what I was looking at. Right? And obviously we're trying to stare at the pitcher's hat to his hand and then read the pitch as it's coming in and try to line it up. So that's the settings that I use for that. Occasionally I will go no PCI, and I have really good results with it, and then it'll just fall off. And I think it's all like a placebo thing where I probably would have been fine if I would have kept the bat on, but it's fun just to do if you want to mess around in practice sometimes, just to mess with it, because why not? Again, it's practice. Now, what I will say is that when you get into a game, there's a couple of things that you should be doing. So one of the best things that you can do when you get into a game, especially early in the game, I like to pause immediately to see who my opponent's pitching with. Okay? And the reason why I do that is obviously you know who you're pitching with once you get out of the lineup screen. Like that's just a given. Okay? But I want to see what their numbers are like. Do they have a high ERA? Is their whip low with a high strikeout rate and a low walk rate? Is it that their whip's high or their walk rate's high and their ERA is high and the strikeouts are low? Do they like to pitch out of the zone more than in the zone to try to generate outs? Or what it gives me a little bit of a story and a background as to what type of pitcher they are. Now, when you get into an event, it's a little more difficult to do it that way because, especially if you're playing at like Shieldwoods or Capital N where the event's being held, because of the fact that it's almost guaranteed to be a hell game every time. It's almost guaranteed to be a hell game every time. But I like to do that to start. And then I really want to be able to gather as much information as possible. So when I say that, I know, like, if you're playing a 3-inning game, it's a little tougher, but I like to try to take some pitches. I like to try to take some pitches. I like to try to see what type of tendencies they have. And trying to hit and speak at the same time is obviously not my forte. Not my forte at all. Yes, I like to try to pick up on any tendencies. So if for the first two batters, they go fastball in, sinker away, cutter in, then for the next batter, I'm going to assume that it's probably going to be something similar or some sort of variation where the pitch location may change, but the pitch that I'm expecting I might still see. The next thing is you have to go up to the plate with a plan. And when I say a plan, you should be hunting for a specific pitch. You should be hunting for a specific pitch in a specific zone. Okay, whether it be down and in, whether it be low and away, whether it be up and in. Like, that if you're righty and the pitch you're facing has a sinker, there's a fairly good chance you're going to be seeing an inside sinker. Okay, and if it's not going to be an inside sinker, it's probably going to be a down and away slider, because sliders that are same-handed tend to shrink PCI and generate really shitty exit velos, and they're not changing it this year, right? So I'm going to sit on that inside sinker, and I'm going to sit on that inside sinker for as long as I can, right? Up until about 2 strikes. Then you're in protect mode, and hopefully you catch a mistake. All right. Now, when I say to sit on the inside sinker, you're going to sit sinker. But if they hang a slider that winds up in the middle of the plate, or they hang a changeup or a curveball, or if they try to, blow a fastball by you up and in, this is the whole reason why we're reading the pitch out of the hand. We're looking for one specific pitch. But if any of those things happen where it's a meatball, that shit needs to go into the stands. Now, yes, obviously easier said than done. Timing windows are kind of funky this year a little bit, especially since the patch. They've seemed like they haven't been, nothing's as good as it was at launch, but it's definitely a little different. But yeah, that's the plan when I start my game. I'm trying to gather as much information as possible from the stat sheet that I can read, to watching as many pitches as I can until either I find something that I want to hit or I have to go into protect mode. Now, I'm not saying for you to sit and wait for 2 strikes for every bat of your entire game. Typically in a ranked seasons game, I'm only probably doing it for about 2 or 3 innings, and then usually the 4th inning is when I pop off. Events is typically the first couple of batters. BR, same thing. First couple batters, maybe the first inning. I don't know. It depends how well I'm seeing the ball, what exactly it is they're throwing, and it's situational baseball. If I happen to lead off with a double, then I'm really trying to make sure that I move the runner over, if nothing else, because you want to make sure you're having productive outs. Strikeouts happen. Don't be afraid to strike out, but don't strike out because you went up there and you swung at the first 3 pitches that you saw. Make it a productive at bat. And when I say productive at bat, if you're going to wind up striking out, drain some of his stamina, foul some balls off, even though they did a foul ball patch. Whatever. Make him work a little bit. Make sure you make him work a little bit. And like I said, at that point that it's gathering information. If you have an 8-pitch at bat, you know that after 4 low pitches, he tries to go cutter inside, and then he immediately fouls it up with a sinker inside. Or if he's gone splitter 3 times low, and then on the 4th pitch, he tries to go fastball up and in. Well, those situations are going to come back again. And one thing that people are, they have tendencies. They're repetitive. It's a video game. Not everybody on here is a professional pitcher. Not everybody on here has a catcher calling their games for them. They're going to go back to what they think works. They're going to go back to what, everyone tells them is the meta. They're going to go to whatever has worked for them before. It's pretty much the best way I can tell you that. In my experience, it just happens to be the way that it usually works out. Like, I can tell you, lefty, I go up to the plate, lefty with a very specific plan. I'm really looking to drive the ball to the opposite field. I'm expecting to see a slider. I'm expecting to see a slurve, the occasional curveball, because people still throw curveballs here and there, but I'm looking for that inside fastball, and I'm looking for that inside sinker, and I will pull the shit out of that if they throw it. But I'm going to read the pitch out of the hand, and as soon as I see it start to bend, because sliders, when they come out, they bend before they come back. That it's going to left center. It's not going to left center. It's going over the left field fence. That's the plan. And if you want to try me inside, I might tag you, I might not. But if you want to try to throw it away, I'm ready for it. Rafi Palmeiro is a great example for me with left-handed at-bats. Now, he's got 48 at-bats total. I've only had 13 at-bats against lefties. But I'm 7 of 13 against lefties. Yeah, I'm only hitting 375 with him, but it's all online. And 7 out of 13 is better than 500 against left-handed batters. Devers, not so much. I'm hitting 476 with him online. Versus lefties, I'm only 1 out of 5. He basically, it's mostly just the event games. I think I've got 1 or 2, maybe 2 games with him for ranked seasons this season. I haven't really started ranked yet. But, Rafi's a goon. Especially with all the boost you can put on him. It's not really what we're talking about right now, though. So that's pretty much what I can tell you. Make sure you go to custom practice. Figure out what your favorite PCI setting is. Like I said, for me, it's the bat with 40%. Go up to the plate with a plan. Try to take some pitches. Don't go up there free swinging. The game punishes you if all you do is go up there and free swing. I promise. Because I have days where either the day sucked or I came out of a game that didn't really produce the outcome that I thought it would based on the swings I took, and I'll go into the next game and I'll just go free swinging, and it'll take 3 innings, and if it's an event game or a BR game, then shit, the game's probably over. But if it's a ranked game, it'll take 3 innings to snap out of it, and then I have to start the process all over again. The best thing you do is take pitches. It starts to weigh down their stamina. It gives you an idea of how they're going to pitch you, whether they're going to be pitching backwards, whether they go slow and off speed to their fastball and their sinker, or if they're going to come right out of the gate blazing at you and then, work the changeup and the off speed pitches off of the fastball and whatever it may be. Make sure you get your settings where you're comfortable. If you comfortably play on All-Star, you may want to go on Hall of Fame and bump it up too. I'd like to put it on Legend and bump it up too. And as you can see, sometimes I'm hitting well, and then other times, whether it be because I'm talking or like I said, I'm not the greatest hitter as it is. I'd rather push and get used to trying to play at that speed. Online play is obviously faster than offline play, so even when we playing on Legend with it 2 clicks up, that's really more along the lines of somewhat of Hall of Fame. And if you don't challenge yourself, then you don't really get a chance to improve. When you play Conquest for anything that's game related, try to play on All-Star and stay on All-Star or higher. Playing on Rookie, everybody goes and they grind the computer on Rookie to get your missions done and this, that, and the other thing, whether it be for Team Affinity or the programs, and I get it. When you're playing Conquest, try to keep it at a higher difficulty, But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If I forgot anything, if there's anything that you do that I don't, that you think may help me or anybody else in the community, please by all means comment down below. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Please consider leaving a like, subscribing, clicking the noty bell. It helps us defeat the algorithm. As always, I appreciate the time. And until next time, have a good one.